Hi, I'm Meriah, and this is You Ask, I Answer. And it's a time where I take some of the questions from readers of my blog and I answer them. And last week I had a question from a reader, and it was about how should the reader help the disabled. And she didn't ask it like, how do I help the disabled, but more like, how do I start something? How do I set up something? How do I initiate something? How do I get something going in my area to help my friend who has a disability, or to raise awareness, or things like that? And I started thinking about the question a little bit, and I realized that it's very similar to that passion and that drive that a lot of parents who have kids with a disability sort of awaken to. And what I mean by that is a lot of parents, non-disabled people, who have a child with a disability. So that's a child with Down syndrome, or a child with autism, or cerebral palsy, or you name it, like any of those disabilities that you are born with or that you acquire. So the parent, the non-disabled parent, has a child with a disability, and all of a sudden the world has changed, and they understand and they get things that they never thought about before, that it never even remotely occurred to them before. And it's like these, a million light bulbs going off, and they want to become active and aware, and I mean they have become much more aware, and they want to share that awareness with other people, and they want to be active, and they want to spread their newfound knowledge with everyone. And so a lot of times parents start organizations, they start something. So they start a blog. Everybody starts a blog, right? Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So they start a blog. They start a Facebook page. They start something, right? And this is awesome. Like that drive and that passion and that energy and that new awareness is fantastic. But the thing that a lot of parents don't get is that this isn't something new for those of us with disabilities. I mean, we have been walking this path for a very long time. Speaking for myself, I've been walking on this for over 40 years. It's not something new to me. So what was new to me in the case of my daughter with Down syndrome is learning about Down syndrome. But in terms of the whole disability thing, like what it's like to have a disability, about the normalcy of disability in the world, about how many people have it, about how it's not really a big deal, but it is a big deal. All of these different pieces were very much a part of me before my daughter came into my life. So it brings to mind what are actual ways that a non-disabled parent or a non-disabled person can help someone with a disability or the disability community. What are the most effective ways? Because it's not always about starting something. Like I said, you don't need to be a leader right now. It's really time to, when you have that awakening and you have that realization that disability is a natural part of the human experience, and you achieve that realization by having a child with a disability who made it very clear to you that this is a natural part of the human experience, and you want to share it, you want to lead something, you want to start something, but you don't need to do that because there's a lot going on already. And so that's what this is about: how to make your passion effective, how to channel it effectively, how to really help what's going on already. So the first thing is money. All right, money. So I wrote a little flashcard, and part of this is to remind me like what I wanted to remember to talk to you about. So first is money. and I wrote a post about organizations to give money to, and that's always super helpful. There's a lot of fantastic organizations that already exist. You don't need to go reinventing the wheel. Just find one that resonates with you and with your kid's disability or with your own connection. With, if you have a friend with cerebral palsy, you really want to do something that works with cerebral palsy, then it's there. And I'm going to put a link here, and you can just go to that post. It's fantastic organizations that you should give your money to. Thumbs up there, okay? But if you're not talking about money and you're really wanting to talk about your time or about your energy or all of these other aspects of yourself that you want to give, then, and that's awesome. That is time. So time. Donating your time is just as precious, really, for this cause as is donating money. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you have $1 million that you can write a check for, or even $100, whatever amount of money, if you've got some money that you can donate, that's awesome and it's always needed. But time is also really important, and time means volunteering at local organizations. This can be organizations like, very disability specific organizations like Special Olympics, or like United Cerebral Palsy Foundation, or very Easter Seals, like very specific large organizations. That's a-okay. But there's also small community-based organizations in every local community. Even here in Hilo in Hawaii, there's very small local organizations that people can easily volunteer. So you need to Google it, maybe even open up a phone book, or ask around, and just figure out where those places are, and go and volunteer and connect with those groups, with those different organizations, because there's always a way, there's always a need, there's always something that they're going to need you for. The third thing is being an ally, and this part here is it's kind of it's too big of a subject to really talk about in this video, which I wanted to keep short. But being an ally is really standing with us, and you're not a person with a disability maybe yet, who knows, you can acquire one in the course of your life, but you're standing with us, you're being with us in this struggle. You're not you're linking arms with us, and you're walking or wheeling, forward with us as we're struggling and striving and trying to affect some major systemic and cultural change. And that means, doing things that aren't comfortable. That is a big part of it, honestly, I think. It means you see those memes going around on social media that have the inspiration porn stuff, it's stopping, calling people on stuff, just asking questions. You don't have to be a hard ass about it, but saying something, speaking up is very powerful. Just asking questions like, why are you posting this? Or what about this image is inspirational? Or noticing when ableism isn't brought up, or when there is an aspect of ableism, noticing when things aren't accessible. Captions, for example. Does this have captions? Where are the captions? Can we please add captions? Video descriptions are another big part of it, and I know that this is something that's a really huge area for me as well. But for blind people who want to access content, how are they going to do it? There's no video description, right? So things like that, thinking about access, looking for the ramps. Where's the ramp? Is this accessible? Why are we having our conference in an inaccessible area? These are questions that you would ask at your job, your workplace, just your world in general, thinking big picture and calling people on their shit, really. And it's not comfortable. I'm not the best at it. It's very difficult for me. I'm not a tactful person. So it's a hard thing for me. And I still do it, and I get tired of it, and I get demoralized by it. I get demoralized by having to continuously ask for access, continuously ask for captions, continuously ask. I mean, you get the picture, right? But it's like a lot of it, a lot of repetition, a lot of this, and then feeling like I'm getting labeled as this angry person, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, my name is Meriah. And my sign name is this. And the reason is because I'm usually smiley. I'm usually a happy person. And yet because I am calling people on their shit all the time, or just asking questions, being like, why did you put that up there? Then they're like, whoa, why are you so angry with me? What did I do? And blah, blah, blah. And so, it's exhausting. And so, it's awesome. It's so awesome when you join. And literally, when I see a friend or I see someone online who I know does not have a disability, and I see them calling someone on some ableism, I cry, because it's so powerful and it means so much to me. And so it's a wonderful thing that you can do. Then I have skills. And this is, again, another subject that I should probably make a video, write a blog post about, because it's really big. But skills, all of us have skills. And a lot of parents who join who join the disability community by dint of their child with a disability, or somebody who has acquired a disability, etc., they think that they need to go and become some kind of disability expert, or need to go in and work with, very disability specific employment, or with disability specific training, or something that's very disability specific. And the thing that I want to really encourage people that I have a connection with to think about is that, your world is huge, and you don't need to segment yourself off into something that's very disability specific. So, for example, if you're a yoga teacher and you have a child with autism, you don't need to stop teaching yoga. No. If yoga is your passion and yoga is what you should be doing, absolutely not. The way that you would integrate your wanting to connect more, or to have people more aware of disability community, disability things with your child, is to maybe set up a class for autistic people, or to think about inclusion in yoga. So try to figure out how to teach yoga to people who use wheelchairs, or how to teach yoga to people who have cerebral palsy or spasticity, I can't pronounce that word, in their limbs, or things like that. How to, maybe even learning some sign and teaching deaf yoga. There's a real need for that. Things like that. There's ways to integrate what your existing passion, what your existing work is, with awareness building, with community building, with the disability community. So it's not like you need to go out and learn something, completely different and new. It's more about integrating disability into your life already. So say, for example, another example might be you're a secretary. Secretaries have skills, and you don't, if you like doing what you do, you don't need to go out and learn, this whole other thing. You can think about how to create, if there isn't something already in your organization, what about a disability awareness group? What about an inclusion and access group? Thinking about making sure that the hiring pool knows how to tap into disabled workers for hiring. There's all of these little ways in your organization that you can like reach out and include people with disabilities, and that you can make your workplace more accessible, that you can help your coworkers and help your organization understand a little bit more. So that's kind of twofold with you know, with your skill set and with being an ally. It's kind of a marriage between the two. But it's an important thing. It's like, I think that it is a lot more effective to be thinking about how to integrate disability into your life as opposed to creating something completely new. And also, it makes more sense because you really want to work on what your existing passion and what your drive already is. So, for example, with me, in my personal example, I was already a teacher, and I was already involved with human resource development and training and that kind of a thing. So employment was already something that I loved. And this was even before I had my daughter with Down syndrome. But when I became very, very connected with the disability community, and when I started to realize that being disabled was not about being disempowered or lack of empowerment or anything like that, but rather it's this identity and it's a culture. I started to see things really differently, and then that's when I became much more involved with disability employment, with career development for people with disabilities and things like that. But it's not like I became deaf or got PTSD or TBI and then did an about face and then started to go down that path of disability and career development. No, that had already happened. So you just like any other type of career and access, you want to meld the two. So the last thing that I have written here about helping is not really like how to help, but more of just something to remember, but it's persevere, because this is hard. It really is. It's hard. You get tired. It's exhausting. It's just demoralizing, a whole bunch of stuff. But you just have to, like, you know, have a sense of perspective and to realize that you're in this for the long haul. You know, this is a marathon. This is not some short sprint. You know, you need to pace yourself. You remember to take care of yourself. You remember to take care of your family. You know, you can't just like go whole hog and like, whoa, sprint for 50 meters and boom, it's done. Like, there's going to be awareness and equal access and all this in the world. I wish. No, it's all a marathon run. So, you know, part of it is just about pacing. Part of it's about, like, you know, keeping your eye out for people that you can like connect with, you can pass the baton on to. Yeah, because this isn't about our own race, our own thing. It's about like all of us. And so we're all in this together. Yeah. And I think that's about it. So in a nutshell, one, please don't go starting something new. Don't. There's a lot of wheels out there already, and you don't need to make more. Just find one that resonates with you, hop on board. So you can do that by donating money, donating time, being an ally, really integrating your skill sets into what is needed by the disability community, and about hanging tight, persevering. You're in this for the long run. Sounds good?